make it live on YouTube as well. Just a second.
All right. Thank you, Dimenbhai. Pranam and Jai Jinendra, everybody. I wish you all are in Sukhsata. My name is Shobha Vora at Jaina EC. I'm VP for USA West Region. And also, I'm a proud member of Jain Center of Northern California. Jaina and I welcome you to the series of lectures offered in English on this occasion of Paryushan and Daslakshana. The lecture series is starting today and will go through Daslakshana till September 10th. Now, let me introduce you Prabhaji Monar. She has worked tirelessly to bring this series of lectures for you. Prabhaji Monar is a computer science graduate from Sam Houston University and worked in that field for last 20 years plus. She is teaching Hindi, religion, culture, yoga, and dance for 30 years and volunteers for youth camp. Prabhaji, you are really a talented person. Hats off to you. She has been invited to conduct Paryushan Parva along with her husband. She has made presentation on Jainism at several interfaith conferences, colleges, and high schools in USA. Above all of these, her interest lies in Adhyatma. She has graduated from the five-year Parmagam Honors Course program. Now she is on the management team at Parmagam and also teaches a batch of Parmagam Honor program. That means she is really qualified to do all these work. Thank you, Prabhaji. Also has facilitated English translation of Jinwani and she practices Jain vegan food at home and develops Jain vegan recipe. I want to thank you, Prabhaji Manoj, for coordinating the series and also giving the lectures. As we are aware that Paryushan is the most important annual holy event for us, Jain, it is a festival of forgiveness and compassion. There are several meanings of Paryushan. One is to get closer to one's soul through introspection, meditation, and austerity. And I know Prabhaji has arranged this lecture to remind us of all of that. At this note, I wish everybody very peaceful and auspicious Paryushan and thank you for joining us. And now here is Prabhaji. Prabhaji, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Shobhaji, for the kind introduction. If it's okay, we will start with Nokar Mantra and then I'll introduce our today's speaker. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvajayanam, Namo Loe Savasa Unam. Jai Jinendra Sabiko. We have planned this 18 days. We have selected the topics very carefully for you guys. I'll give you a very brief introduction of how the flow of topics will be. So let me share the screen here real quick. Okay, so here's how we have selected the topics. So today you're going to find out what is the need for all this Jain philosophy. Of course, it will solve a lot of our own issues, but also modern day issues. So we're going to talk about that today. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about whatever Priyaji is going to say what to do. In that respect, how would I find out who am I? So we're going to talk about that. Then, as it continues, we will understand the 6 essential avashyak things to do the day after. Then, where are we going to find out the knowledge of all of these? So we're going to talk about the classification of Jain scriptures. So it will be easier for you to select which books to read and where to go from there. Then after that, for 12 days, we're going to talk about 12 reflections or bara bhavna, 12 contemplations. So these are the perfect things to do during the Paryushan days. So nice to be able to spend time doing this. We will briefly talk about it an hour, but then you can, of course, study more of that during the daytime whenever you have time during these Paryushan days. And after that, what will happen? Some of our karmas will be nirjarit. So we'll talk to you about karma. And then finally, the true nonviolence. And of course, Amari Pravartana is followed during these 8 days of Paryushan, Shwetambar Paryushan. So nonviolence is going to be practiced, and we will talk about that at the end of it. So this is how we have planned it. So make sure you don't miss any days and stay with us all the 18 days. And now for our speaker today, she's very familiar. She has been with us last couple of years, but I will still introduce, even though most of you probably know her. We have with us Dr. Priyadarshanaji Jain. She is professor and head of department for Jainology at University of Madras. Now, she is herself MA, MPhil, PhD in Jain studies, and now she has PhDs under her. In fact, she has 3 PhD students that have graduated under her. And she's a resource for International School for Jain Studies, where she has been teaching foreign scholars for the past 15 years. I think that is also a Jaina initiative where we train people, we send them to India and train them on Jain studies. So she has organized and conducted many Jain national and international seminars. She was part of interfaith religious delegation sponsored by the US Department of State, wherein she represented Jainism at different cities in the USA. She has written, edited, translated, and published books and articles. Of course, she's a professor, so no wonder she would have written a lot of articles. She's a resource person for Paramagam Honors course, wherein she is currently handling 3 batches. She has actually just this January graduated from the Paramagam Honors course also, just like I did, and she's been teaching also. All right, she has 55 full-time students that are doing their masters in Jain studies under her. Now, she has guided 14 internships and 13 dissertations at the master's program in MA Jain studies at the university. She gives Paryushan and Daslakshan Seva for India and, of course, USA. She's been with us last 2 years. She is currently also doing the Varshita, and hopefully all of you know, which is 1 day full fast, and you eat every alternate day and you fast. So, so with all that, so she has Gyan, Tap, everything with her coming. She's recorded 40 videos on Tattvat Sutra. She's good at English, Hindi, Tamil, Marwadi, lot of languages. So on to you. I don't want to take any more time, but you still get full 40 minutes, Priyaji. Oh, apologize. I introduced Priyaji. That was a little bit error. I was going to introduce Jia. We have her presentation first, and I'm not going to reintroduce Priyaji. So my bad. Let me introduce Jia first. Okay. So our topic today is modern day issues and solutions in Jain philosophy. Our junior speaker today is Jia Ajmera from Chicago Pathshala Group. We have tried to represent a lot of cities within the US. So a lot of the Pathshala students have gotten opportunity to present here. And Jia Ajmera, I will tell you, we just told her this 3 days ago that she has to do this. I had volunteer kids for all the other topics, and first 2 were remaining. So it was so kind of her to accept it and do this as a challenge. She was late in school yesterday till late. So pretty much today, she's just prepared this topic, and I think she's done a wonderful job. Jia is 14 years old. She goes to St. Charles North High School, and she's in 10th grade. She's associated with Jain Center of Chicago. She is very interested in Jainism. Her mom and dad are her mentor at home. Her hobbies are in music, dance, socializing, and traveling. Her long-term plans are she wants to be a profession in which she can earn good money and help others too. So she may become a doctor, then become a philanthropist, environmentalist. So you have a lot of options, Jia. All right, over to you.
In modern times, there are multiple mental health issues, the main one being depression, and this can cause multiple.
Little louder, Jia.
In modern times, there are multiple mental health issues, the main one being depression, and this can cause multiple negative outcomes such as suicide, violence, and self-harm, even shootings, and many more violent activities done by people dealing with mental health issues. Majority of the causes are trauma, looks, overstress, childhood abuse, neglect, social media influences, racism, and the list can go on and on. We believe we are the body. We all have general identities, such as some of us are men, women, rich, poor, smart, dumb, white, black, brown, tall, short, etc. One of the principles of Jainism is aparigraha, to be content with whatever you have. By applying this principle into one's life, people around the world can learn to live a happier life by being content with what they have. Finding peace and content from within versus deriving it from materialistic possessions and even opinions about ourselves ultimately leads the depression and stress rates to go down. My way or highway is one of the biggest problems. There are multiple problems between religions, countries, sociopolitical problems, etc. The fundamental cause of these issues is people's inability to see things from another person's perspective. This leads to arguments, intolerances, disputes, division among society. Sometimes it even goes as far as violence to try to impose your beliefs and values on others. Jainism is one of the 3 A's, which is anikantvad, non-absolutism, can help solve all these issues. Anikantvad states that the ultimate truth and reality is complex and has multiple aspects, maybe even multiple truths. No single specific statement can describe the nature of existence and the absolute truth. Anikantvad emerges to be a social attempt at equality and respect all diverse views and ideologies. I am sure you have all heard the story of the 6 men and the elephant. I won't go deeper into it, but we saw how the 6 men got into an argument because they had different perspectives about what the elephant was. How can we apply this in our own lives? As Shravaks and Shravikas, Bhagwan Mahavir suggests that a man should make it clear before every claim that his point is only relative. In simple language, while giving your opinion to the person, keep using more relativistic phrases like, as far as I understand, or I believe, or I think, or according to the information I have, etc. Use them as needed. Such language not only shows humility, but there is no danger that the person's words will be proved wrong. We also should try to put ourselves in someone else's shoes when these things occur. Another one of our main issues in today's world is environmental issues. Ocean contamination, poor air quality, soil quality, deforestation, meat production consumption, and wastages in landfills. Jain scriptures motivate people for minimal consumption. The emphasis on sacrifice is what teaches us to leave all these things and try to help the environment instead of destroy it. Principle of Jainism discourages them from unlimited consumption of natural resources, while also encouraging to educate others towards limiting consumables. But what is the ultimate solution to all these problems? It's self-realization. That is what Jainism has always taught us and always will. Realizing one's soul is also the ultimate and best solution to solve all mental health issues. Because when you know you're a soul and not a body, you're not man, woman, rich, poor, smart, dumb, white, black, brown, tall, short, all of the things I mentioned. You're just a soul. We might not attain absolute self-realization in this life, but maybe in a few more lives, but just taking a decision of wanting to believe it can help us overcome these things, because at the end of the day, you're the soul, not the body. Realizing one's soul is also the ultimate and best solution to solve all disputes you may have, because all your arguments will disappear when you will know that all of these things are external and temporary. Soul is above this, and it is the only thing that is permanent. Realizing one's soul is also the ultimate and best solution to solve all environmental issues, because the soul doesn't need to harm or destroy the environment to gain something or be happy. At the end of the day, soul is happy just by being and knowing its own nature. Thank you for listening. Jai Jinendra.
Excellent job, Jia. Very good. And without much delay, now we will turn to Priyadarshanaji to start her presentation.
Yeah. Jai Jinendra, everybody. Am I audible, Prabhaji?
Yes, good.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I wish everybody very, very happy Paryushan. That is Mangalkari Paryushan, Mangalmay Paryushan. As you all know, that Paryushan is also called as Parvadi Raj. It is the king of all the festivals, as Shobhaji put in her template, wonderful messages she has sent. And I met Shobhaji 3 years ago as part of my Parmagam acquaintance with her. I got to meet her at one of the Jaina meetings that I had attended, the Jaina convention that I had attended, and I'm very proud of that meeting and that convention where I was invited to give the lectures. So Prabhaji, I cherish that meeting with you. And I'm thankful to Jaina this year again for extending this invitation, for giving the permission to host this Paryushan, Parvadi Raj Paryushan in Shobha, I would say Prabhat style. You know, so wonderfully she does it with the juniors and the seniors and the activities. And, you know, she's such a warm person with the children and with the old people. So, I mean, with all the elders. And also Jaina has roped in Prabhaji, and all Prabhaji has roped in all of us. So, and I have a lot of admiration for Jaina, which is doing a wonderful work. I wish there was an umbrella organization, the Jaina type in India, and all the Jains in India were united. So you, the Jaina people, are doing great, great, great work. And we have a lot of anumodana for all the volunteers there, for all the trustees, for all the team leaders, and for all the people over there. So, and now that you all have joined in, we welcome you with open heart and warm welcome to all the listeners of the 18-day Paryushan Mahaparva 2022. So without much ado, I straight away come to the topic. So we are going to do the 18 days of lectures, and all the 18 days, they are going to be interconnected. Today, I'm only going to fix the context in which we have to understand the Paryushan Mahaparva. So we always move from the known to the unknown, from the broad to the narrow. And so I have taken this topic, the modern day issues and the solutions in Jain philosophy. So the first of all, you will be having questions at the end of the session. So all of you, please pay attention and note down the answers, and you will be able to answer after my talk. I suppose so, and you will get what to say. You'll be happy about it, that you heard and you could recall and you could tell. So first of all, there is no dearth of the issues. At all fronts, we have the issues. Whether it is at the personal level, the physical level, we have multiple physical disorders, BP, sugar, cholesterol, you name it. In every household, you'll have some issue or the other related to the physical disorders. And then you have mental health issues. Children not in sync with parents, parents not in sync with children, the society not in sync with your views and your views, not going according to society, so many health issues. And then you have at the national level, at the societal level, you have so many sampradaya and so many differences that divide us. Whereas you will see the Jain philosophy, which unites not only the Jains, but the entire humankind, entire mankind, the whole universe. So Jain philosophy is not just for the Jains, it is for every Jeev, provided we understand it and we take it forward. So at the societal level, there are differences that divide us. And then at the national level, you have so many, if you take in India or even in the US, both democratic countries, they have all their issues at the national level, and we have our policies and all these things. And then most importantly, the people using religion to promote violence and the differences. So religion, the word religion comes from the root verb relega, which means to join, to connect. So true religion should help us to connect with our own true self. It should help us to connect with God or Godhood. It should help us to connect with the other men, the society, and it should help us to connect to the environment at large. So it should be a holistic connect. Only then it is a true religion. Even if one connect is not there, then it is not a true religion. So at the societal level, national level you have, and now at the international level, you see the wars, the piling up of arms and ammunitions, fundamentalism, terrorism, and growing materialism. That I feel is a root cause, not root cause, that is one of the problems, growing materialism. That is why you see the voice for minimalism on one side, veganism on one side, caring for animals on the other side. So all these are answers to that growing materialism and the environmental. And then at the environmental level, you have the environmental disorders, the species extinction, the climate change, the global warming, the melting glaciers, and all the natural disasters, population, and a lot of problems we have. In spite of the scientific and technological advancement that man has made, he's researched on the atom on one side, and he's researching on the space on the other side. He can science and your Google can give you all the details of everything. How to make an atom bomb, how to make a nuclear bomb, how to make a dynamite, how to do all kinds of nasty things. Everything the Google can teach you. Google also can teach you the good things. So Google means, I say, internet. It's neither good nor bad. So how you take to it, that is important. So man has access to all kinds of knowledge, but who is going to tell him what is right and what is wrong for him and for the environment at large? So this is the context in which we have to understand the Jain philosophy. And so what is the root cause of these modern day challenges? According to me, my study of Jain scriptures tells me that the root cause of all issues is, whether it is physical, mental, environmental, societal, whatever issues, the root cause is spiritual bankruptcy. We are spiritually bankrupt. We have material access, we have everything. We have our likes on our Facebook, we have everything, the social connect, everything is there. But we are not connected to our true self. We don't have the faith in it. We don't have the knowledge of it. And we don't know that we are that. So that spiritual bankruptcy has made us insensitive to the suffering of others. We are not sensitive to the suffering of our own self and others also. So both go hand. When we say suffering, what you understand as suffering is different, and what actually suffering is different. If you read Jain philosophy in depth, you will know that what you call suffering is not at all suffering. But the root cause is the endless desires that we nurture, which are actually suffering. So that we are insensitive to that. And then lack of self-awareness. We don't know who we are, from where we have come, what we are doing, what is our purpose in life, what should be our short-term and long-term goals. We have no goal setting in life. When we know truly who we are, only then we will set the goal and move towards it, and only then all the other issues will be addressed. So this is my humble belief. And then all these three are together told as lack of right faith, right knowledge, right conduct. We don't have the three jewels in life. We have only the pebbles and stones, and that is what we are amassing. We do not have the three jewels which will light up our mind, our body, our soul, and the entire, the cosmos outside. So what is in the microcosm is there in the macrocosm, and what is in the macrocosm is in the microcosm. In the macrocosm, you have all kinds of connects outside. So inside the microcosm, micro is the self, the one within the body. Okay, there are a lot of connects over there. And those connects, if they are not correct, they lead to all kinds of issues. So supposing if your network is jammed, you cannot get access to the files that you want, or the videos that you want, or the connect that you want. So your network has to be in place. So in the same way, the network within the soul, the network within the body, and the network outside the body, outside the person will be correct. So this is my humble understanding. So now, as you all know, that this is the Parvadhiraj Paryushan Parva, and the first 8 days we have it of the Shvetambars, and the next 10 days the Dasalakshan. So I won't say Shvetambar, Digambar. So we'll say together we are going to celebrate 18 days of Paryushan. So we'll be mixing and matching the Shvetambar text and the Digambar literature that we have. So I have got for you today some notes from the Acharanga Sutra, which is the first agam of the 32 or the 45 agamas. And I take pride in telling you that I have been teaching this wonderful text for almost 25 years now. And it is like a soul song. It is like a soul song because the Acharang begins with self-enquiry. Bhagwan Mahavir says that 99 point, see, the words are mine, but the content is what Bhagwan says, that 99.9999% of the people do not know from where they have come, from which direction they have come. Okay, so they do not know. So when he uses the word know, it is called as Chetana, that knowing, seeing are the lakshan of the consciousness, Chetana. So I hope you are all comfortable with this word Chetana. Please understand, Chetana is the other name for soul, for consciousness, for spirit, for Jiva, for Brahman. Call it any name, Ruha, Uir, jo bhi aapko bolna hai. So this Chetana is of two types. It is Jnana Chetana and Anubhav Chetana. So this Jnana Chetana and Anubhav Chetana is there in all the Jivas, whether it is the microorganisms called the Nigod, or the macroorganisms, the humans or the celestial beings, they all have this Chetana, Jnana Chetana and Anubhav Chetana. But this Chetana is unaware of itself. It does not know that it is a divine energy. It is potentially divine, and it is inherently pure, and it is what to say, it is the most beautiful, majestic, magnificent, magical splendor on earth. Just because that Chetana exists, the body is able to work, I'm able to talk, everything is able to happen in this material world. And this Chetana will exist even in moksha, in the purest form. where only knowing and seeing and being is happening, nothing else. So knowing, being, seeing is the dharma, and everything else, doing, talking, walking, as etc., are not the real dharma, or dharma means the real nature of the pure soul. So this Chetana is to be understood in two ways: the Jnana Chetana and the Anubhav Chetana. One is the knowing Chetana, the Chetana which knows, and Anubhav is the Chetana which experiences or feels, etc. Then elsewhere in the scriptures, we also have Jnana Chetana, Karma Chetana, Karma Phala Chetana. So many other things are there. So I'll tell you, it's a beautiful journey studying Jainism, and I'll request you all that with the help of these 18 days Paryushan lectures, you all take extensive studies of Jain studies. Then only you will know what really Jainism is, and then you will get the right faith, right knowledge, right conduct. You'll have the connect within, and you will already feel like God. You'll already feel like Paramatma, and eventually you will become Paramatma. If you feel like Paramatma, if you believe that you can, you are a kind of a Paramatma, matlab you are that kind of Paramatma, that Paramatma will manifest, and you will really become Paramatma or Arihant one day. So without that feeling, you cannot become Arihant. Without becoming Arihant, you cannot become Siddha. And without becoming Siddha, you cannot get rid of the challenges and the sufferings and the mental health issues, physical issues you may have in one life. But if you don't understand this Chetana, we will be subjecting ourselves to multiple births and deaths, where we'll have so much of mental agony and so many other challenges, and you will not know a way out also to face those challenges. That will be the darkness. That is why you have the Upanishadic prayer, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. We always pray that lead us from darkness to light, lead us from untruth to truth, and lead us from death to immortality. So that is the journey that we have to take. 18 days is a very small measure of time, okay, given the little time that we have and the commitments that we have. So please make the best use of these lectures. So coming back to that Jnana Chetana and that Anubhav Chetana. So what is Jnana Chetana? The 5 types of knowledge. So Mati Shruta is there even in the microorganism. Even an ant knows the difference between salt and sugar, the Gyan it has, the knowledge it has. Okay. And then it has the faith that sugar is good for me and salt is not good for me. That faith is there in it, the belief is there in it. And then it takes the sugar and leaves the salt. So the conduct is there. So I've just given you an example like that. You can construct multiple examples of Gyan, Darshan, Chetna in all the Jiva. Let us take, for example, a terrorist. He has the knowledge of how to make the weapons. He has the knowledge of misinterpreting the scriptures that he reads or whatever it is. He also has a set of Gyan. But that Gyan is in the wrong direction. It is destructive. It is not constructive. So that Mati Gyan is called as Mati Agyan. Okay, and then he takes the decision that I have to do this, I have to harm this person, I have to get rid of this person. So he believes in destruction. And then he takes to the destruction. So Gyan, Darshan, Charitra is there in all the Jivas. In you and in me, Gyan, Darshan, Charitra is there, but it is in the wrong direction. Okay, so it has to become right. And when will it become right? When we convert, or when we work on our own selves and understand the true self and convert that Mati Agyan. Mati is your sensory knowledge, and Shrut is your decisive knowledge. So the knowledge that you get through the senses and mind, you make them right. In that Mati Gyan and Shruti Gyan, Keval Gyan is constructed. And you move towards Keval Gyan, and one fine day you get the Keval Gyan. So it's totally a bottom-up approach. You have to work on your own self, and then you get enlightened, and then you know the whole universe. The whole universe is reflected in your knowledge. So that is the power of the soul, and that we have to understand through the Jnana Chetana. But when this Gyan Chetana is not Jagrit, it is not awakened. So what is there is Anubhav Chetana. So every Jeev has this Anubhav. Anubhav means experience. So what are those experiences? We call them the 4 instincts. the instinct for food, the instinct for fear, the instinct for pleasure, the instinct for possession, the instinct to react, anger, conceit, deceit, greed, and to go according to the social norms and to get carried away by the karma uday. These are the 10 kinds of Anubhav Chetana. Elsewhere, they have also given the 16 kinds of Anubhav. Anubhav means experiences that you and I, we all go through. Not just you and I, but all microorganisms and macroorganisms go through these 16 types of experiences, which we understand as ahara, bhaya, maithuna, parigraha, sukha, dukkha, moha, chikitsa, krodha, mana, maya, lobha, shoka, loka, dharma, and ogha sangya. So I'll request you all to read the Acharanga Sutra, where you have the details. And there was one Sadhvi Bhagwant who did her PhD on the 16 types of Sangya. So that's how the research is going on, and there is no dearth of literature in the world today. You have access to everything. So please go through these notes. I will only be able to hint at many things. Okay, so these are the 10 or 16 instincts or the feelings or the experiences that the Jeev goes through. And when these feelings or experiences are happening, at that same time, the knowledge, the awareness of it is also happening. So we are aware of the things happening to us, but we are not aware of our own self. And that is the root cause of all the issues. So today, we have our Jain festival, the Paryushan Mahaparva. So we should understand what is the purpose of all the Jain festivals. The purpose of all Jain festivals is to do Aradhana of Gyan, Darshan, Charitra, Tap, or rather Aradhana of the self through Gyan, Darshan, Charitra, Tap. So, and that I would simply, in simple words, say self-realization and self-conquer through Bheda Vigyan. Bheda Vigyan means it's a science, it's a soul science, differentiation between what and what. When you understand that Bheda Vigyan, I will tell about it in a little while, only then self-realization will hit you, and then and then you will work out towards self-conquer. So when we all Jains meet each other, we each greet each other by saying Jai Jinendra. That means what? May you conquer your Indriyas, and may I also conquer. So that is how the great Jain festival is pronounced even in our greetings. Okay, so now how this Bheda Vigyan will take place? So what is the method of Bheda Vigyan? The answer is realization of the separation between three things. Please note down. It is realization of the separate existence of what? Body and soul. Body and soul are two different entities. Like now you had the pandemic, you had the corona, people dying, and not even the family members being besides them, okay, because of the infectious corona, and they just died in ignorance. Not they, I mean, predominantly, not everybody has this Bheda Vigyan, everybody has the soul science, and they are enlightened and they embrace death positively. So where this positivity is not there, it is darkness and it is suffering. So with that positivity, if we know, if today we are to die, are we ready? Like in Meri Bhavna, we say, no, lakho varsho tak jiyon ya mrityu aaj hi aa jaave. If I live for lakhs of years, millions of years, I'm okay. And if I'm to die today, I'm okay. So do we know, do we have that fearlessness? So the purpose of Jain festivals is to make us enlightened and to make us fearless. And that can happen through the Bheda Vigyan, and that Bheda Vigyan has to be between three things. First, three ways we have to understand. The first one is body and soul. Okay, so now I have read the Jain scriptures, I understand body is different and I am a soul. But then you have to know what kind of soul you are. Then you are the Jnana Chetana. Okay, the Jnana Chetana is you, and the Anubhav Chetana is all a pariyai. It comes and it goes. It is not the real you. So the instinct for food, fear, pleasure, possession is not you. So when you understand that, you will limit them. You will limit them and you will not fall in the trap of social media and OTT and Facebook and internet and spoil your nervous system in the first place. Okay, the nervous system gets spoiled and then all the other systems get spoiled. So you will minimize the use of technology. You will take it to the bare minimum and spend the maximum time for your own true self and work towards your own liberation. Okay, so body and soul are different. Now, when you come to the soul, there are two ways that the soul works. One is the gyan and the other is rag. Every time we have either rag or dvesh, attachment or aversion for whatever we know and we see. So the push and pull is always going on in all of us. And when we understand the Jnana Chetana, this push and pull stops. And then the real life and living and Vitarag Bhav and the Gyayak Bhav that you really are, the experience starts. So, and all our Paramatma are Vitarag, and they have instructed us to understand our Vitaraga nature, work on our Vitaraga nature, and manifest that Vitaraga nature and the Keval Gyan that is inherent in all of us. So we should understand that even though Rag and Dvesh are going on with us, and Gyan is also there, so they are like the two tracks. Gyan is also there and Rag is also there. These two tracks go parallelly, they never meet. Until one fine day, you differentiate between the two and you switch on to the Gyan Chetana, and within Antar Muhurat, you can work towards your Keval Gyan. So that we have to understand. Now, when you come to Gyan, the third part, first thing I told was body and soul. Then I told Gyan and Rag. And the third one is the Gyan and the Gyeya. The Gyan is the knowledge and the Gyeya are the objects of knowledge, which are not the objective of your knowledge. So even the whole Lokalok, the universe gets reflected in your Gyan. They are all Gye, but I am a knower and a seer. So being with that knower and seer is Samaik, is Upvas, is Vrat, Tap, Niyam, Puja, Pratyakhyan, and the real Paryushan, the spirit of Paryushan, is to be with one's own true self. So that is the purpose of the Jain festivals, Bheda Vigyan, and Bheda Vigyan has to be done between these three, body and soul, Gyan and Rag, Gyan and Gyeya. So, okay. So now, as I told you, if you do not do this, what will happen? Then the Acharang Sutra says that the Jiva will be reborn in 18 directions. You have east, west, north, south, southeast, southeast, etc., these 16 directions, and one the upper and the lower. So together it comes to 18 directions. But the Acharang Sutra mentions the 18 directions in this way. It says, you can note down if you want, the first 4 are in the human realm. In the human realm, you have the Samurchim Jeev, the microorganisms born in the DNA of the human beings, of their blood, spit, semen, etc., stool, urine, etc. That is the 14 types of Samurchim Jeev. Then you have the human beings born in the 15 Karma Bhumi, the Jivas born in Akarma Bhumi, 30 Akarma Bhumi, and 56 Antardvip. So here all the human beings can be reborn. So these are the 4 directions of human beings. Then you have the 4 subhuman directions, the 2 sensed, the 3 sensed, the 4 sensed, and the 5 sensed animal and animal world. And then they have left the 1 sensed. Then you have to take in the next 4, the 1 sensed, earth-bodied Prithvikai, water-bodied Appakai, Teukai, that is the fire-bodied, and the Vayukai, that is the air-bodied. So these places we can be reborn. They have left the Vanaspati Kai here. That you have to take it in the next slide. So again, you have the 4 directions of the plant kingdom. So the plants that are born as the whole plant is a seed, for example, potatoes. Then there is the seed in a plant, the apple seed. And then you have the palak. Every pore, every stomatal opening is a jiva. And then you have the nodals that are there on the sugar cane. So they are called as Agra Bij, Moola Bij, Skanda Bij, and Parva Bij. So these are the 4 directions of the Vanaspati Kai. Again, I'll tell you the 4 directions of the human world, the 4 directions of the subhuman world. Leave the 1 sensed over there. Then take the 1 sensed, leave the Vanaspati Kai over there. And then in Vanaspati Kai, you take the 4. So these are the 16 places, and then hellish region and the heavenly region. So two regions, up and below. So these are the 18 places where we can be reborn if we do not work on our Jnana Chetana and get carried away by our Anubhav Chetana. So, and then in Uttaradhyan Sutra, very beautifully, they have told us that how difficult it is to get a human birth. You know, they say, no, pehla sukh nirogi kaya. So we all want a disease-free body. Okay, but and whatever disease-free state that we are enjoying today, physical level, mental level, at our economic level, it is all because of the practice of ahimsa in the past. And whatever suffering, whatever ignorance, whatever disease, whatever deprivation that we are experiencing today, it is because of the himsa that we have done in the past. So there is one very beautiful doha which says, Sukh diya sukh hote hai, dukh diya dukh hoy, aap hane nahi avar ko, to apne hane na koi. That means if you are the cause for instrumental for the happiness for others, then nobody will harm you. And if you are instrumental for the suffering of others, then you will in turn get suffering only. So this gives us the, what to say, the law of attraction. What you attract is what you give. What you give, only you get back. Okay, so there's one very beautiful illustration that I would like to tell you, that once a person went to a garden and he saw a beautiful mango tree and he saw a beautiful ripe mango and he wanted to taste it. So who saw the mango? The eyes saw the mango. Okay, and then who wanted the mango? The mind wanted the mango. The mind, you know, apna man, jisko hum bolte hain. So the mind wanted the mango. Now the eyes did not want the mango, but the mind wanted the mango. The mind wanted the mango, but the mind is not going to go and fetch it. Who went and fetched the mango? The legs went. Okay, now the legs went to the mango tree. Now the legs will not pluck the mangoes. Who plucked the mangoes? The hands plucked the mangoes. Okay, now the hands plucked the mangoes, and then who ate the mangoes? The mouth ate the mangoes. And who filled it with the mangoes? The stomach. The stomach filled itself with the mangoes, and the mouth through the mouth. Now, who saw all this? The gardener saw all this. And then he came with a big stick to hit that person. Why did you take the mangoes? So who got the beating? He got thrashing. So who got the thrashing? The back got the thrashing. And when the back got the thrashing, who started weeping? The eyes started weeping. So you understand? So the eyes saw, and then the eyes finally, it came back to the eyes. So what goes out will come back to you. This was just a small analogy to make you understand how everything is interconnected. So if you're causing violence and harm to others, then you are indirectly inviting the violence and harm to your own self. But if you are your own friend, you are the friend of the universe. That is why they say, appa mittam amittam cha, dupattiya supattiyo. Atma is its own friend when it treads on the right path, and Atma is its own enemy when it treads on the wrong path. So the whole Jain, the spirit of Jain festivals is to be our true friend, to be our true, to be a bandhu. First of all, we have to be a bandhu. Bandhu means, you can say, a good Samaritan, a good citizen who believes in godliness, who believes in cleanliness. So I have great admiration for our Prime Minister, who gives us these abhiyans called Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And then that's what I see in Jaina, that all the Sampradaya, all Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas, that is very important. And I wish that we in India could emulate what the Jains in America are doing. So that is the spirit of non-violence. And now we have 30 universities where Jain studies programs are going on. So I request you all to become Jain scholars and become the heads of these institutions and take Jainism, the real Jainism, forward to the world. So this is my message to all the young budding Jain junior scholars and all the Paramagam students studying with Prabhaji, with me, and everywhere. You know, it's a big community now of 3,000 plus students with more than 50 plus enlightened teachers, all working together under the leadership of Swanubhuti ji, who is the granddaughter of Hukam Chandji Bharat. So we integrate a lot of things over there, spirituality and science, Shwetambar and Digambar, modern and ancient, and trying to take Jainism within our own self and to the world outside. So here we have how difficult human birth is. I was telling you that I'll give you two examples. One is the example of nut and bolt. You all know a nut and a bolt. Okay. Supposing you take these two, the nut and the bolt, and put it in the Pacific Ocean or the Indian Ocean. You put the nut in the Pacific Ocean, I put the bolt in the Indian Ocean. Okay. Now, what are the chances of the nut and bolt coming together? Very remote. Very, 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 very remote that the nut and bolt will come together. Kadachit, the nut and bolt may come together. Okay, but you and I getting a human birth is even more rare when compared to this nut and bolt coming together. And this is told in the 3rd chapter of the Uttaradhyan Sutra. How difficult it is to the Chaturangiya, the lesson of Chaturangiya, the 4 angas, very, very difficult to get. The first one is very difficult to get a human birth with humanitarian qualities. Daya, Dan, Anukampa, compassion, a life of awareness is very, very difficult. That is the first difficult requisite. The second difficult requisite is to have faith in what Bhagwan has told. Okay, the second one is to get an opportunity to listen to the truth. Third one is to have faith in it. And fourth is to exert according to the faith. Each one is more difficult than the previous one. So that is the example of the nut and bolt. And the second example that I've got for you is the meal at the Chakravarti's place. Okay, for example, today I would say, let us say the Chakravarti is the Prime Minister. And by some good luck, I got an invite to have lunch with the Prime Minister. Okay, now Prime Minister, maybe he will call me again for lunch, but at Chakravarti's place, I got an invite. And then like a fool, I asked a boon from the Chakravarti. The Chakravarti is the emperor of emperors, the mighty monarchs who rule the 6 Khanda Prithvi. Okay, so he told me that please ask whatever you want to ask. I'm very happy with you. I would like to give you something. It so happened that that Chakravarti and that person who had got an invitation for the meal, they were traveling through a forest before the person became a Chakravarti. And they lost the way. And this man had some food with him, but the Chakravarti had none. He got separated from his army, so he was not carrying any food and he was starving. That time, this man helped him give him company and to share with him. And so the Chakravarti was very impressed. And he told him that when I become the Chakravarti, you come to my palace, I give you a boon, you come and ask for it and I shall give it to you. So this person remained a poor man throughout. And when he remembered the Chakravarti's message, he went one fine day to the Chakravarti's palace. And then he had a lavish lunch party or dinner party at the Chakravarti's place. And he really enjoyed all the chappan bhog, all the kinds of dishes that were spread over there. And then the Chakravarti says, you ask what you want to ask. And this person, he said, beginning with your house, you have given me a good meal. So I will tell you to give me 1 gold coin. And along with that, you should order all the people in your country, in your kingdom, to give me 1 meal. Okay, so next I will go to all the ministers' place. Then I'll go to all the merchants' place. Then I'll go to all the commanders in chief place. Then I'll go to the ordinary citizens, etc., etc., etc. So the king said, okay, tathastu, let it be so. And so every day he went to some person's house and he had the meal. But whenever he had the meal, he remembered the Chakravarti ka bhojan, the food that he had at the party that he had at the Chakravarti's place. Now you tell me, is it possible for that person to again get invited to the Chakravarti's place? Because he has put himself, he'll go to everybody's house. So there are millions of people, but his days are limited. And everywhere he went, he yearned for the Chakravarti Bhojan. In the same way, the Uttaradiyan Sutra tells us that this human birth is like the Chakravarti Bhojan. And we should make the best use of it to work on our Gyan Chetana and manifest it to its highest potential. To its highest potential. Otherwise, we will go back to these 84 lakh Jiva Yonis, and there we will keep dreaming about the human birth that we had and that we missed it. So that should not be the case. And so Prabhaji has arranged and Jaina has arranged these 18 days Paryushan for us. So it is for us to become wise. We say, no, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. But today, being so much hooked to technology and gadgets, we have lost that simple message of sleeping early, waking up early, and working towards health, wealth, and wisdom. So, what is the beginning of wisdom? Then I would say realization of the true self through the practice of the 3 A's: ahimsa, anekant, and aparigraha. Ahimsa should begin first with your own self. And that will begin only through the application of anekanta. That is, you have to understand the self or the soul from many dimensions, from praman, naya, nikshep, syadvad, saptabhangi, etc., etc. You have to understand the pure soul. When you realize the pure soul, only then the real ahimsa towards yourself will begin. And the fruit of it is aparigraha. Detachment, desirelessness, enlightenment, bliss, all these 3 will come only when we apply the Anekantvad in understanding the soul from many, many viewpoints. So that elephant is the soul, and the 6 blind men are our 6 indriyas. The 6 indriyas. So they are all blindfolded. You need the eyes of the scriptures to understand what actually the elephant is, which is multidimensional. So likewise, the soul is multidimensional. We have to understand it during these 18 days of Paryushan and become wise. And when we become wise, we move towards the real health, to real wealth, and only then we can get the real happiness. So this, according to the scriptures, is the message that I have understood, and I put the words in my ways, but the content, the philosophy comes from Paramatma. And I'm just a small tool taking from the big bowl of Jinavani and serving it to you. And I hope you all enjoyed the serving and you will relish it and you will benefit. Thank you. Jai Jinendra, Jai Mahavir. Over to Prabhaji.
Thank you so much, Priyaji. Very well said. You made some very, very good points. As if you notice, I'm wearing Independence Day colors. And my greetings of independence said, Happy 75th Independence Day to India. And being in our pure soul, the natural self, is the ultimate independence. So, Priyaji kind of mentioned all these things, that how important it is to first know your soul, then be in it and stay in it. That should be our ultimate goal. And what better time to work towards it other than these 18 days of Paryushan. So Priyaji told us a lot of good things. Now, let us test ourselves. Really, it's not a test. It's going to be very few simple questions just to revise the topic. And hopefully you all will be able to answer some of these simple questions. So let me start. I put in the message chat, please, as many as you can, turn the videos on. So it helps us also. That way you guys can just raise your hand and I know you can answer the question. Okay. So what are the challenges before mankind today? Just name a few and multiple people can name. We can raise hands. Demon Bhai, we can put it on gallery view and let people unmute. Hope they're able to unmute.
They are able to unmute themselves.
Okay, okay, all right.
Parigraha?
Yes, that is one of the challenges.
Technology.
Yes, technology.
Desires.
What was the third one?
Desires.
Desires. Yes, we all have those.
Global
Environmental lack of spirituality,
Mhm.
global
Right.
warming.
right faith.
Yeah, somebody said global warming. Yes, these are all challenges we are facing today. And I know there's big conferences on solving these problems. And of course, there's so many different angles to look at it. But when we dwell deep into our own religion, we will find most of the solutions to some of these natural day-to-day problems that we are facing. Okay, so moving on. Let's see here. So what is the root cause of the modern day challenges?
Lack of spirituality.
Of spirituality.
Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
lack of spirituality.
And are we aware of ourselves? I mean, some people aren't even aware that these are problems. Do our schools teach any moral science?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but yeah, I think
So see,
People are
our
aware-
kids don't learn any morals, so they're so insensitive to suffering. You know, what are the games they play? The video games that kill each other, all those things contribute to the mentality that the youngsters or the children are going through. What are the two types of chetanas? Priyadarshanaji talked about two chetanas. Yes.
Gyan and Anubhav.
Anubhav.
Very good. So proud of yourself. You guys are paying attention. Very good. And so what is Gyan Chetna?
Yeah, right now she's asking a lot of questions about what they did during the meeting. I wasn't there for most of it, so I can't answer most of them.
Okay,
But
that's
I'm going to
fine.
answer the ones that I can.
And even if you didn't hear her, if you can answer some general ones, that's fine. So who knows the types of Gyan?
Mati Gnan,
Shud Gnan.
Mhm.
Avdi
Keval
Gnan,
Gyan.
Paryay Gnan, and Keval Gnan.
Very good. So that is Gyan Chetana. Okay. And then the second one was Anubhav Chetana. So we all do experience things, right? We are experiencing our Gyan, our soul. We are just not aware of it. Okay. Now enumerate the 10, 16, and 16 types of Anubhav Chetana. I think she mentioned quite a few things that we experience. Sangyas, that is correct. Somebody said the Sangyas.
They can mention even 4 or 5. They can even mention 4 or 5.
पहले तो चार आहार भय मैथुन परिग्रह
Very good.
बाकी
And then the Kashayas.
Rag, Dvesh, Man, Maya, Lobh.
Very good.
सुख दुख चिकित्सा
And then no Kashayas, right? They
No
all fall in this category.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. What is the purpose of all Jain festivals? Paryushan being the biggest of all.
It's to focus on self and to get to know oneself.
Very good.
Vitragta, Aradhana, Sadhana.
Bilkul. Very good.
and
Self-realization and self-conquer through Bhed Vignan. Priyadarshanaji focused a lot on Bhed Vignan today. What is the method of Bhed Vignan?
Is understanding 3 separate things: body and soul, rag and dvesh, and then gnan and gai.
Gnan and Gnaya. Very good. Excellent.
Some corrections there.
Some of these people who are
Second
answering
one.
are my students. So proud of you guys.
Gyan and Anubhav. Second one should be Gyan and Anubhav.
Gnan and Anubhav. Okay.
Right, not Rag and Dvesh.
Thank you.
Or Anubhav could be Rag, Rag and Dvesh.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Shobha, Prabhaji, can I answer this question and make
Yes.
it clear?
Yes.
We have to see, we don't have to separate. We have to realize that they are separate. What? The body and soul, first one. In the second place, it is the soul that is called as Gyan and Rag. Gyan and Rag. And in Gyan, we have the Gyan and the Gay. Separating the Gyan and the objects that come in Gyan. So these are the three things.
Can you say a little bit more about Gnan and Gay, please?
I'll give you one small example with permission of Prabhaji, not otherwise.
Sure, we have time. We have time. Yes.
For example, I tell you all to imagine fire and you all immediately see fire. So where do you see fire? The image of fire appears in your Gyan. So in your knowledge, Gyan is knowledge. So has your Gyan become hot?
No.
Is your Gyan affected by the fire?
No.
No, nothing has happened to the Gyan. Nothing has happened to the soul. Now, supposing I say diamond. So immediately your Gyan constructs the diamond. So has your Gyan become like a diamond?
No.
Nothing. So the diamond and the fire are separate. Your
Got it.
Gyan is separate.
Got
So
it.
Atma is Gyan Swabhav. But it thinks that the experience of all these objects of knowledge is it. That is the ignorance. That is the mithyatva. That is the perversion. And when you separate these in Samaik for 48 minutes, you work on the Gyan and ignore all the Gye, the objects that come in you, in your mind, then you are working on your own self. That is Samaik. Okay, dear?
Thank you.
So enumerate the 18 directions where a jeev can be reborn.
Human,
Human, 4
subhuman.
for human, 4 for subhuman, 4 for one sensed, and 4 for vanaspatikai. I cannot
Very
name
good.
each of the 4 because it was too fast for me to note down anything.
So 4 for subhuman was 2, 3, 4, and 5 sensed. And
Correct.
then 4 in 1 sensed. Pratvikai, Apkai, Vayukai, Devukai. Okay. And then 4 in plant kingdom and hellish and heavenly existences. Okay. So how is human birth difficult?
Two
How
examples.
difficult it is. She explained, how rare it is.
It's rare. So getting,
Chakravarti.
so to be sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So being human, so having a human birth with humanitarian qualities, to be able to have the ability to listen to experience, to listen the truth, to actually experience truth oneself, to be able to act upon it, they're all extremely rare.
Mm-hmm. And she gave us an example how rare it is.
We gave two different examples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One is the nut and bolt example, and the other one was the meal at the Chakravarti's place.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. Very good. Now, last but not the least, what is the beginning of wisdom?
The beginning of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Making the most of the life opportunity you have as a human.
Yes. Samyak darshan.
3 jewels.
He talked about the 3 jewel. Yes.
Oh, ahimsa, anekatvad, and
Anekantvad.
aparigraha.
And aparigraha.
Very good. Very good. So you all did very good. And now that we know, you understand most of it. But if you still have any questions for Priyadarshanaji, we're open to some more questions. We set the time for this session from 8:30 to 10 The reason being that we started at 8:30 rather than 9, because in Eastern time zone, we wanted to accommodate for, students going to school the next day. So we would, our main part would be finished in an hour, but we still kept half an hour extra so that in case we go a little over time or we have, questions from the audience. So we wanted to provide enough time for that.
Thank you.
Can we have 3 responses from the audience, what they have heard today, what they have understood, what they would like to pursue? Shobha, Prabhaji, with your permission,
Yeah,
you can.
sure. So what do you think of these kind of talks for 18 days? Would you all be able to sustain 18 days? Come back?
Yes.
Yes,
This
coming
is,
back will not be a problem, but to absorb this into the daily life and make it practical, it's a lifelong journey. It cannot happen in 18 days.
Yes,
At least not
definitely.
for me. Let's just
Lifelong
make it
journey.
quick.
And this is why we are going to do Bhara Bhavna. It's going to teach us what to think through after listening to some of these initial 4 lectures that we have. We're going to talk about the reflections, contemplations. Of course, it's a lifelong journey to progress in this journey towards yourself.
I think what this
anything
is
that you have not understood, anything that you want more light on it, you can ask for it. It's your time now.
to be honest, Priyadarshani ji, it's getting into more depth of all of these topics is really what we look for. We're just eternally grateful that we're getting to be able to get this in English. So we're looking forward to the rest of these days.
So yeah, it's going to be a beautiful journey. So please be more inquisitive. We have 5 types of swadhyay. Scriptural study, you have 5 aspects. First is listening. Second is questioning. You have to ask, you have to have doubts. If you're not a jigyasu, then the other 3 kinds of swadhyay will not happen. So first, be inquisitive. So I have a beautiful aarti, which says, Pehli aarti Bhagwan ki jigyasu karta. So first be curious like a child, innocent, curious like a child. Only then you become receptive to the higher wisdom. And then you will not go back to these rebirths, and then repent later on. So all things are interconnected, and I hope you are able to see the interconnectivity. Yes, over to Prabhaji.
Okay. So now we are not time bound. We can, of course, end the session as soon as we are done with our questions and audience questions to the teacher. So Hemal, did you have a question?
I have a language question because I do not speak yours, and I'm very sorry to have to ask you such a simple question with such learning, but I don't know how to spell the third A in the 3 A's of
Parigraha, you mean AP? Is that the one you want? Parigraha.
I got ahimsa, anakanta. I don't have the third one.
Okay, I'll spell it for you. I'll spell it. Aparigraha.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. That
I have
means
a question for
non-possessiveness.
Parigraha, can you also explain the meaning also to her probably?
Sure. Priya, do you want to do this or should I go ahead?
Sorry, I could not.
The basic note I had with that was that it was about non-attachment.
Exactly.
That's correct. Very true.
Okay.
Non-possessiveness, non-attachment, both.
Okay. I got the drift. I just didn't know the term. Thank you.
Okay.
So
just one request I would like. Okay, just one request. That's what I actually Claudia already asked, and probably she did not tell the exact wordings. That whatever terms we use, Sanskrit terms or Prakrit or Indian language, if you can try to translate into English, would be helpful to a listener like Claudia. You know.
Sure, we'll keep that in mind. So whenever the terminologies come, we will give the English translation.
Prabhaji, please give me a minute. So ahimsa is non-violence, anekant is non-absolutism, and aparigra has two connotations, non-possession and non-attachment. And all the three together will lead to enlightenment.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question, Dr. Jain. You know, it is my first time to hear about the Chetna being of two types, with the Gnan Chetna and the Anubhav Chetna. Could you share some more information, relevant information for this session?
Yeah, sure. It's a very important question. See, Chetana, as we understand in the world of psychology and philosophy, is consciousness. And there's a lot of research going on in this realm. You have parapsychology, psychology, and all the neurosciences and all these medical sciences also talking about in terms of consciousness, subconscious, unconscious, and all these things. No, we should have a conscience. All these terms are very, very popular in this field. So you will look at the religion, philosophy, and science. They all try to come closer to truth. They all are here to guide man to come closer to truth. So here we have the enlightened personages of the 24 Tirthankars, Mahavir being the last, and his words have come down in the form of the Agamas. And in that Agam, you find the word that many people do not have the awareness from where they have come and where they are going to go. So that word is for awareness is Sangya. And that word Sangya is interpreted as Chetana in the commentary literature. Now, the Chetana is the direct English, the English word for it is consciousness. Okay. Now, this Chetana functions in two ways. In moksha, it is only the Jnana Chetana that is operating. But for the bondage jiva, you have the Jnana Chetana and the Anubhav Chetana that is working. So whatever Anubhav means, the experiences. So we experience the instinct for food, fear, pleasure, possession, anger, attachment, all these, you know. So why do we sleep in the night and wake up in the day? That is what is the norm. So this is called as the Loka Sangya. And we get carried away by things. So that is the Oga Sangya. We doubt everything. That is the Chikitsa Sangya. So likewise, you know, 24/7, these sangyas or these instincts or this chetana is working. But this chetana has never become sthir. Sthir means it has never become deep and profound to understand what exactly it is. So when it just stops for a while and contemplates on what it is, then it will discover that it is the Jnana Chetana. So when these Anubhav are happening, at that time even Jnana is happening, because that is what the Chetana is. That is what the consciousness is. But that Jnana Chetana, that knowledge consciousness, is overpowered by the feelings, by the emotions, by the thoughts, by the words, by the deeds. So, and that is the Kashaya Atma and the Yoga Atma. And the Jnana Atma is overpowered.
Got it.
So now when we are celebrating this festival, we are supposed to become still to the material activities and run deep into our consciousness and realize it and manifest it the way it is. Then that Jnana Chetana becomes the Keval Jnana Chetana. Is it clear, dear?
Yeah, it is. So what you're saying is that the Anubhav Chetna is taking over everything, that we are not able to appreciate the Jnana Chetna part of it.
Yes. Yes. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Over to Prabhaji.
Okay. Any other questions? If anybody has any other questions, we can take it. Otherwise, we'll do Janvani Stuti.
I have one more question. So how does this fit into our understanding of becoming Samyak Drishti? How does that fit into that?
See, the consciousness has many dimensions, and that we have to understand through different viewpoints called Naya. Then you apply these viewpoints, you get the correct picture of the consciousness or the self that you are. And that is called as Praman, the valid knowledge. So when you get that valid knowledge, your vision becomes right. And then you are called a Samyak Drishti, a self-realized soul. And then whatever you do, the Anubhav will keep happening till the 10th, 12th Gunasthan. Right? But then you don't get carried away by the Anubhav. You don't take to attachment and aversion. You remain equanimous. You remain equanimous. And then that leads to destruction of karmas. And you are not binding new karmas. You are on the path of liberation.
Correct.
Okay?
Got it. Got it.
Beautiful.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemal, for the question. Over to Prabhaji.
So with the thought that we may all stay on this spiritual journey of ours, I'll just do the Jinavani. Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup. Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup. Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup. Nij nidhi nij mein batai, यह अनंत उपकार है. इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है. वंदना शत बार है. जय जिनेन्द्र.
Jinendra, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just wanted to add one thing. Jia gave a very nice presentation and she highlighted some of the connections between modern day issues of mental health and how it pertains to self-realization. And I just wanted to give a shout out for that.
Thank you. Thank you for encouraging.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhaji and Dr. Jain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, I am sitting in Orlando right now, where the convention is next year.